Welcome to the Angler Talk Podcast with Chris and Aaron. Brought to you by FishingMagicianTV.com. I challenge thee.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Chris and Aaron here, back again with another podcast, and we got a very special guest. We got Darcizzle and Brian, a.k.a. Puddin'. How are we doing, guys?
We're doing very well. How about yourselves?
Hey, doing great.
Pretty good. Not as good as you guys, though. I'm in 13-degree weather. But how's it going down there in Florida?
It is called the Florida freeze right now. We are experiencing extra cold weather. It was very cold last night, and tonight it's going to be cold again. I think today the high was like under 60, which is, I was wearing a ton of clothes just inside my house, freezing.
I don't put the heat on, so she has to tough it out.
Yeah, in Jersey, when we get 60-degree weather, we go outside in shorts and T-shirt.
Right.
I'll tell you right now, I'm from New Jersey, and there's no more shorts and T-shirt and 60 degrees weather.
Yeah.
I'm super acclimated to this weather now. It's pretty rough.
Yeah. So, when did you guys get started fishing? How old were you? How did it all start for you?
So I am a third-generation Floridian. I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. And that's where I started fishing. My dad started taking me fishing at the age of 3 years old. We had a little 18-foot canoe, which is basically like a supercharged canoe. It's a very tiny boat, little flats boat. Took me and my younger sister out all the time. And we did a lot of mangrove snapper fishing growing up down in the Key Biscayne area, and then also a lot of lobstering. So we would get in the water snorkeling, catching lobster, and I have a lot of awesome memories doing that. And my dad actually passed away tomorrow. Well, the 31st is the 3-year mark of him passing away. So,
Sorry.
so yeah,
Sorry to hear that.
I thank you very much. So I have, my dad to thank for my love of fishing. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I think that's a common story. I think about 100% of the people start fishing because their parents fish, and I was no different. I grew up on the water on the South Shore of Long Island, and my father was already a fisherman and a bayman, having gill netted and trapped and ducked and all that great stuff. And I just grew up with it too. I got pictures of me, surf casting up and down Fire Island, North Carolina, when I was, under 10. And my dad got a 28-foot sport fish. We used to go out in Rich's Inlet. And then I just got tired of the weather up there back in 2002 and moved to Florida. And then I've been fishing down here ever since, and met up with Darcy 10 years ago, and we've been fishing constantly since. And we're doing, we do about 150 trips a year now. So
That's really good. So
fishing all the time.
Put your time in.
You guys,
Yeah.
So you guys do everything from inshore to offshore, correct?
Yeah, we concentrate on offshore. Of course, the channel's named Darcizzle Offshore, so that's what we love. But I'm running the business, like we touched on a little bit before. When the weather's bad offshore, or when something changes, or when something different biting, we got to have the option to go inshore. So now we have 2 boats. That way we have all sorts of options depending on the weather. If it's not good offshore, and we can hit inshore. And obviously sometimes. Well, we learned a long time ago that we need to fish for what's actually biting. So sometimes something inshore is biting. And so, we don't go out there and try and make a mahi jump in the boat if there ain't no mahi around, or it's the wrong season or whatever, so we take advantage of
the option of having 2 boats is key here. Back north where I'm originally from, having a small boat to be able to get around the back is kind of what I'm used to. But when I moved here, I thought one boat would do it all, and it's definitely not. If you want to be on fish consistently, to have a little bigger boat to sneak outside of the inlet is key. So, I definitely believe that. That's awesome, guys.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was saying, I think the smaller your boat is, the more you use it. I see these guys out with these quads and triples that boats don't leave the dock. You know what I'm saying? And the guy in the canoe, like Darcy and her dad back in the day, they're out all the time. So
Absolutely.
Something to be said for that too.
So when was the pinnacle where you guys said, you know what, we want to do this full time? What made you get to that decision and let you actually follow your dream and become a full-time YouTuber and stuff like that?
So, we met at work 10 years ago. It's going to be 10 years. Well, it has been 10 years already. Met at work.
We've been living together 10 years.
Yes. And we didn't work for each other, but worked in the same building. And basically started the channel I started posting on Instagram back in 2012. That's kind of when it all began. Started posting my fishing pictures. I was basically the pioneer of this whole fishing niche on social media pretty much. And then I started getting a lot of likes, a lot of followers, and people wanted to give me free stuff, free lures, free shirts. And then shortly after that, I was like, let's make a YouTube channel and show people, that I'm actually out there catching all these fish, because just me with holding pictures of fish, people didn't believe I actually did that or caught that fish myself. So that's kind of where the YouTube channel came from. And we wanted to show people that I was a girl out there doing this and baiting my own hooks, catching my own fish, all that good stuff, fully cleaning my own fish. And that's how we began the YouTube channel, but we were still working full time. And we had the YouTube channel, I would say, for about 2-3 years till we finally decided enough's enough. Let's quit our jobs and follow our dream. And we were making some money back then, but we just decided to go, full in. So we went in one day and we both went to our boss and we quit. And that was January of 2016.
Yes,
January 2016, we went full time on YouTube. And we have almost 900 videos on YouTube to this day. We've been posting consistently 2 videos every week for years now, which is a lot of work. Just constantly have content, in fishing, you don't know what's going to happen out there. It's like the hardest niche to make videos with. You're going to go catch something, but you don't know if you're going to catch that fish.
Exactly.
So it's just really, really hard. But we've been grinding away at it for years now, and totally love what I do. And I'm actually a shy person to begin with. So like back in the day, if you look at my older videos, they're just super cringe. I can't even watch them or look at them. I was just terrible on camera. So just, through the years, I've progressed and like came out of my shell and, learned to talk on camera and be on camera and all that good stuff. And, to this day, we're still making YouTube videos and we love it.
Well, I'll tell you this, my youngest, my daughter, she actually made it to one of, I think your brag board, pufferfish. And up until that point, she didn't see a lot of women in the industry doing what, her dad does. And so I brought her right to your page. I showed her some fishing videos. I showed her some pictures, and it literally lit a spark underneath of her. And she's like, well, if she could do it, I can do it. And it kind of like, it put her out of her comfort zone and, brought her to a bunch of places where she's at today. And, definitely thankful for that.
Right. That's
so awesome.
That's been, part of the joy of it for us. I mean, that's what it is. And I picked up, someone had this saying, I don't know who said it, but it was awesome. It was, you need to see it to be it.
Yep.
And before social media, and Darcy was literally first. I mean, I don't know if we could do it. Her and I could do it again. Starting now, honestly, probably not. But back then when we started, there literally was nobody else. Particularly any girls. Like now, there's ladies and women all over the internet, and of course, not copying her because that would happen anyway. But we were out there. I mean, Black Tip, he lives up the road from us, and Black Tip H was out there. And us and Deer Meat was doing a lot of hunting, but I mean, we were the only ones. And then all these wonderful women started seeing it and doing it. Again, not that they wouldn't have done it anyway. Eventually, the nature of social media, but that's the great part about it. And now she's at a point where all she has to do is comment on a young lady's post or a dude's post at this point, and they're like, it makes their whole day, and it's really the best part about this whole thing.
Yeah, and just to briefly touch on that a little bit, like without social media, pretend we don't have social media, a girl's out there fishing and a guy might say something negative to her, or she's doing something wrong, or you did that, you didn't hook that fish right, you didn't do this right, and hearing something like that is going to make a woman not want to fish again. And unfortunately, that happens a lot of times where men say something negative to a woman, out in public or wherever they are about her fishing or whatever she's doing in the outdoors. And that might make her decide not to do it. So having social media and showing these people that, I get my hands dirty and I'm doing it all just on my own, throwing cast nets, doing everything. Brian literally just holds the camera. I literally have man hands from fishing so hard, and Brian has baby hands.
I do have baby hands.
Mine are so rough and just beat up. But I want to show girls that get out there and do it. Don't let a man tell you otherwise. Don't let a man be negative to you, because unfortunately it happens more than we think.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Having a 12-year-old daughter, I mean, guys, I can relate. I mean, some of the stuff she deals with in school and some of the stuff she deals with other people her age, it's right along them lines. So to have someone she can look up to and see doing what she does, I mean, it's pretty freaking awesome. So keep on with the good work for sure.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, yeah. I've been trying to figure out why women don't fish more often, and more even bigger is why they don't have their own boats and stuff.
Right.
And it's, they're astronauts, and they're from astronauts to zoologists and everything in between, and so much smarter and more patient and listen more than we do. That why they don't fish more.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but the only thing I can figure out is, 'cause some guy said something stupid, or just because I don't want to, which is perfectly fine too. I don't like dolls, so that's fine.
I'm with you on that one. I can't stand dolls. They
Nothing wrong
creep
with
me
that.
out.
We're not the same, but
They creep me out, man. But I mean, yeah, Darcy definitely did. You started a trend that was not out there, and excuse me. And thanks to social media platform, we're able to broadcast that to more people. Like when I first met my fiance, I fished 360 days a year. So that's a big part of my life, and I wanted to bring her into that. And she was like, "Do you know any girls who fish?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know plenty." So I brought up your page. I brought up Virginia Salvatore out there in California, and she starts like, "Okay, well, you know what? I can do this too."
Right.
And she's coming into her own, and I tell her, I'm like, "Look, every time I'm on a boat and there's a female angler or even a kid angler, they always outfish the men." And she's like, "Why?" And I'm like,
listen,
"You guys have a very sensitive touch. You guys can feel it better. You guys know how to finesse the lure better, I guess I can say."
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this to play any guy out, but it's just, it is what it is. I mean, lady anglers are just as good, and if not better, as a man angler. And for what you did for the sport and for this platform, it's a big thing, and thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's pretty awesome. People actually call me the OG these days.
I call her the grandma of fishing.
Yeah, they call me the grandma and the OG.
That's
You were
back.
the original back in the day, and it's really cool. Now the market's flooded. There's so many fishing channels. There's so many social media accounts. There's so many women doing it. Every charter captain has a YouTube channel. Everybody's doing it. So it's just, we went from nothing to a huge, industry like on social media, and it's just awesome.
So Darcy,
Right.
if you don't mind, I mean, while we're on, the whole, empowerment of women thing, I mean, can we talk about the bracelets and the necklaces that you make? I mean, is it just geared towards, the women, or is it, an actual, like, kind of both side of the party thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing one right now, but it's a fish hook paracord bracelet. I make anchor bracelets as well. Started it a few years ago. I would say like 6 or 7 years ago. And it kind of just really ended up being something bigger than I thought it was going to be, and actually making money in my small business. And I'm to the point now where I need to hire somebody to help me because I can't keep up with the orders. But I also have like custom stone crab necklaces that I make myself. Also just started getting into selling like sterling silver pendants, all kind of nautical jewelry. I'm wearing a sea turtle one actually right now. That's very popular, but they're geared towards men and women. I mean, I don't say they're, women's bracelets or men's bracelets. They're unisex. And a lot of guys ask me, do you make male bracelets? And I'm just like, if you're a male,
just the color.
Yeah.
Just the color of the bracelet.
If you want to wear a bracelet, wear a bracelet. Like
Whatever you want.
Nobody's stopping you. So, but they're geared towards everybody, kids and adults alike. I make adult size bracelets and kid size bracelets too.
No,
Yeah, just like the nature of it, fishing is mostly dudes. So 80% of our people are, is dudes.
Yeah.
And so 80% of our jewelry customers are guys too.
Yeah. And of course they buy for their, their kids and their wives and all that good stuff.
I definitely fell in love with the stone crab ones. I see it. They're like on a live, I think it was, and you're labeling this claw for this person, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
jump on that. Yeah, it was pretty.
Well, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Darcy's last video, I know that the stone crab necklace new batch that's coming out, they're gonna have some big monster claws on there.
Yes. You're totally right.
I did watch that video. I think it was Thursday.
Yes.
You uploaded it, and I was like, man, those are some freaking monster claws.
Yes, we did very, very well stone crabbing in that last video. We killed it.
So have you like totally decided, like, what, chicken is the way to go?
So I haven't really noticed a difference between the fish carcass traps versus the chicken traps yet. I've just done 2 pulls so far, kind of marking which ones have carcasses and which ones have chicken. But I just started something new, which is putting a bait cup in the trap, which is what you're supposed to do. And I've done 4 or 5 seasons now of stone crabbing. I've never used a bait cup You put a little bait cup in there, and I put pig's feed in it, actually. And then it gets zip tied to the upper part of the trap. So basically, there's just holes on the bottom that let the scent out of the cup. So basically nothing, like when you just throw carcasses in there, fish and crabs come to the outside of the trap and they'll eat it through the outside. They won't climb in it necessarily. So with a bait cup, that's going to force them to go in no matter what, because they can smell it, but they can't access it. So they'll have to get into the trap to get it. So I just put those out. So I'm excited to see what the results are with the next pull.
You guys got a little inside tip there, guys.
There you go.
Yes.
You know, write that down. I mean, let's get back to more fishing geared. I mean, I want to know, and I know a lot of listeners want to know, in the winter months when it starts getting chilly here in Florida, I know there's techniques up north for, you know, depending on what species you're targeting, but here down south, what is your guys' go-to artificial for when the water temperatures drop, you know, to the temperatures they are now, and it's just snotty out there? Do you guys have a go-to artificial? Like, I know myself, I have a go-to, but, you know, is there something that you guys would say if you had 3 lures to pick out of the bag, them 3 would be it?
And you're talking about like inshore fishing, right?
Shore fishing in the back, yeah.
Yeah. So in the winter months, a lot of times we can't get offshore because our little boat is just too tiny to get offshore. So inshore, of course, we're always trying to use live bait. You know, that's like our priority when we fish, because we realize we're trying to make a video, and some days when you're fishing artificial, you might not do as good as versus having live bait. But I do still use artificial. So I would say my top 3 lures are going to be the DOA Terrorize.
I saw that coming.
I'll throw that quite a bit. And I've caught every species that swims on a DOA Terrorize. It's crazy what eats that thing. Tarpon in the winter. I've caught Tripletail, all kinds of awesome stuff. And then another lures that I like to use too, we do a lot of like inshore trolling, especially right here in our home waters, where we'll just pull like Yuzuri 3DB minnows or Yuzuri floating minnows, but I also like to use the suspending ones that have a triangle lip on it. And that really seems to get the fish fired up too in the wintertime months. As long as I have some current moving, we do pretty good. And then also the Rapala lip divers, the Rapala X-Wrap 30s are also really awesome. I like to use those, and even in no wake zones when we're like moving from fishing spot to fishing spot, I'll just put the X-Wrap out real quick and let it go all the way to the bottom. And you'll be I've been shocked at some of the massive snook I've caught in the wintertime on X-Wrap 30s. So those are kind of like my 3 go-to. And then I try to use shrimp a lot.
Yeah, I know. I tell people all the time, like, if I can get live bait, you know, I'll definitely go live bait. But it's more of like the challenge. I'm so friggin' stubborn when I go out there, where I want to trick these fish into biting what I think works. And usually halfway through the day, I'm back to throwing the cast net, trying to find friggin' live bait, because it just Yeah, but no, I understand the importance of that. Especially you guys are trying to make the video. You're trying to get as much awesome footage as possible.
Right.
So, you know, you want to have some kind of fish to bite.
Right.
So.
And in the winter is actually, you know, the best time to get like those big giant wintertime shrimp. So usually, like, you know, I love using a shrimp, but, you know, sometimes when we're out there, I might throw the artificial for a little bit and Brian will use shrimp, or vice versa. But we'll try to like see what happens if we're getting better bites on the artificial versus shrimp. But most of the time, we just can't afford to go out there all day and throw an artificial and pray that we're going to catch a fish, basically.
Right.
Yeah, and to be honest, you know, they actually put a little out there, guys. So if you're moving from spot to spot, I always said to a lot of kayak anglers and even boat guys, if you're running from a spot with a troll motor or even slow troll, throw something out there, because, I mean, you're covering a lot of water. You never know what could bite in that time. I mean, from spot to spot. And again, she even said that she gets surprised what comes up and bites that thing. So, you know, throw a bait out, run the bait behind the boat or the kayak to the next spot. And I mean, you'd be surprised. Definitely.
Yeah, no, she does it incessantly. It drives me crazy no matter where we're going, what we're doing. If it's a slow zone, she's trolling.
Yep.
And I mean, she's catches fish everywhere all the time.
I remember a day we were leaving a spot and he was about to take off, and I just threw my DOA Terrorize out real quick, and he started to take off, like go on plane, and I had the bail open on free spool, and then all of a sudden a tarpon jumps, and I'm like, tarpon, and hooked up, and like we were literally leaving the spot, and like he had to slow down, and I caught the fish.
I don't take it no more. I'm like, that thing better be out by the time we hit that resume normal speed sign, or it's getting dragged.
Yeah.
That's a diehard right there.
Yes.
So
always have a line in the water.
I know this is a hard question for any angler to answer, either yes or no or whatever it may be, but do you have a specific species of fish that you love the most catching?
Yeah, it's definitely a hard question. I would say I have like a top 3 favorite fish to catch, depending on the season. Of course, everybody loves mahi. Just I love the action they put up, the aerial jumps they do. They're so pretty, and I'm still out there to catch a PB. My biggest is a 20-pound mahi, but the second would be a wahoo. I love catching wahoo when they hit hit on the troll. The reel goes from being quiet to screaming like crazy, and it's just such an adrenaline rush reeling in that fish. And then I would say third is a tripletail. There's something about tripletail that I just love to catch, whether it's offshore or inshore. But they're just such a fun, even though kind of an ugly fish, but they're such a fun fish to catch, and they're so delicious. They're so good. But those are my top 3. I can't really pick like a favorite.
I was actually curious to see what you were going to say, because every time I talk to anybody from Florida who fishes, like people from out of state go there because they want to catch tarpon. And it's like when you talk to a Floridian, you're just like, so how do you like tarpon fishing? Just like, we're used to it.
It's like, it's something like we have to do like in May. To me, I mean,
yeah.
Right. What's the biggest tarpon you guys have ever landed?
Oh man.
Oh, I don't know.
Big,
whatever monster
huge.
We fish the bridge and Bahia Honda every May or whatever,
Yes.
and just whatever they are.
We have some crazy footage of like these hammerhead,
Whatever.
like these 14-foot hammerheads, like chasing tarpon that I've hooked. And it's just one of those incredible sights that you have to see in person that like scares you that there's like sea monsters out there, because the 180-degree turn that a shark can do, a hammerhead can do on a tarpon and chase it down, and this huge dorsal fin comes out of the water. It's like 3-4 foot long. It's just the scariest thing to see in person. But I would say the biggest tarpon is probably, we never actually got an estimate on a fish or what actually, measure the fish. We always try to release them right away. But I would say definitely upwards of 150 pounds. Big tarpon.
Yeah, the first time I caught a tarpon was a couple of years ago. I went down to the Keys for a vacation, and my first charter was supposed to be for tarpon. And me and my fiance get on the boat, and I'm looking at tarpon everywhere, Keys Fishery.
Yeah.
And Marathon, and I just say, you know what? We're not going to waste a trip on tarpon. I'll just come back later and catch one. So I get there at 10:30 at night thinking, the restaurant's closed, everybody's gone. And then some lady pops out and she's like, you can't do that. You're not supposed to fish there. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a tourist. And then I look down and directly in front of me, there's a sign that says no fishing. I said, damn.
Damn.
Well, it's probably don't like to fish anyway, usually.
I wish I had a great, tarpon story, guys. I really do. The only, I've been here for about 4.5 years now, and in Sebastian, we get a decent run off the beach every once in a while, but my biggest tarpon had to be at the inlet in the middle of the night, and it was on one of the Yozori, the diamond-billed Yozoris you were talking about, and I swear by them things. And I have this little clip on my TikTok of the line just screaming off the freaking bail, and me losing it. My knees are shaking. Tarpon, baby. That was the end of it. He literally spit this thing. Couldn't keep the hook set. That's all of them, dude. So I wish maybe in the future, I hope, I have a tarpon story to talk about, but that's as close as I've gotten.
No, they're a great sports fish, and it depends on depending on how you fish for them. They can be really hard to catch, or they can be super easy. We just cheat and dead bait a lot for them at a big pine, and it's pretty easy, honestly.
Yeah.
But then you go for a fly, and it's like impossible. So there's a big variation.
Yeah, but even dead baiting a couple times earlier, this past May when we were down there, we even couldn't trick them into biting. There's just some of those days where they know and they can see that line and it's not drifting just perfectly in the water, and they're not going to eat it. They're very, very smart. Especially the bigger ones, like they don't get big for being stupid. But usually the ones that you see at the docks and stuff hanging out are what's that famous place you go to down there to see the tarpon?
Like Robbie's?
Robbie's, yeah. Like usually those fish are usually lockjaw. Like you won't catch those fish hanging out at the dock. But the ones that are migrating are the ones that are hanging out around bridges and stuff. It takes a while for them to get comfortable like around your boat and then finally eat your bait.
Yeah, the resident fish don't like to.
Yeah,
pretty small.
We failed a couple days last year trying to catch them on dead bait, so
normal.
Just depends.
Yeah, we have a spot here. It's up the Sebastian River. It's more of like freshwater saltwater mix, so almost like a brackish. And there's tons of tarpon up there porpoising. their little tails off, and I get frustrated every time I put the boat in because you see these things clear as day, and I'm everything from blue crab at them. It's usually the artificial days when I see them the best, where I have no live bait on me, but these things just won't take a hook, guys. I'm telling you.
That happens.
Yep.
But they don't want it.
Yep. That's totally a true thing. Even right here in Boynton, our home waters, the resident big tarpon right here that live here year round, they will not eat a hook. They will not. Like, they know. They just won't eat a hook. You can't catch them.
I'm glad it's just not me.
Yeah.
No.
So I do have a couple questions for Brian.
Big glitch, bud. Hang on.
That's
All right, you guys are back.
all right.
Okay.
So where did the nickname Puddin' come from?
I gotta make a different thing for this, I think, but
Different thing.
I don't know. I just don't think the story is that great.
Oh.
But basically, I eat pudding. I mean, I don't know. It's exactly where you think it would come from. But going back a little further, Darcy's. I'm fat, right? So I don't like to eat ice cream. So Darcy's when Darcy's dad was sick, or when Darcy's dad was around, he likes pudding too. And Darcy and his stepmom would make like homemade chocolate pudding and homemade what's the other pudding?
A tapioca.
Tapioca pudding.
Oh yeah.
And I started having some, and again, it was just better than having a whole pint of ice cream. So then I started just having like those little Jello pudding pop. No,
Snack
little
packs.
Jello snack.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Snack packs. So at night, instead of having a pint of Ben and Jerry's, I'm having a little
thing
pack or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then one of our friends, Crazy Craig, right?
Yes.
He brought him out on the boat one day, like a surprise, and so I'm having it on the boat. I don't know, and then I don't know.
The name came
Then it
that
stuck,
day.
and people liked it.
Yeah, the name came
And
that
I
day.
don't give a crap.
Was
But people
Pick your nickname.
grabbed it, and I went with it, and here we are. I
Yep.
don't know.
Yep. So the name came that day when we brought the pudding on the boat, and he's like, "You're pudding."
Yeah,
So, and that's
I do have pudding like every day. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not.
Hey man, pudding's good. I'm a big guy as well. Pudding is pudding. It's good.
She won't let me eat ice cream. Mainly,
Had ice cream last night.
I sneak it.
What you call it? Where did the idea for the portion of your show, Cooking with Pudding, come up with? Is that something you guys came up with, or is that something like a fan asked? Maybe do like Catch and Cook, and it just stuck.
Well, the Catch and Cook format really originated by Rob.
Deer meat for dinner.
Yeah, from Deer Meat is it's very hard. I don't know how many videos you guys have, but it's making a fishing video. It's tough because you don't know what's going to happen, and you have no story. There's really no storyline. You can't really make it. You can have a storyline, but it's almost impossible because you don't know how your fishing day is going to go, or what order it is, or whatever.
And it's very, very rare where you actually have a storyline that comes together in a fishing trip where we go through these struggles, and all of a sudden at the very end of the day,
climax.
it comes together, and we have videos that happens, but it doesn't happen as frequently as we'd like.
Right.
So Catch, Clean, Cooks.
It's a 3-act play. Catch, Clean, Cook. So the story, it's great. So and all you gotta do is catch a fish. You don't have to catch a whole bunch of fish. You only catch one fish, and you catch a fish. You tell them how you caught the fish, and then you clean it, and then you cook it, and you got a 3-act play.
Yep.
And also, if you guys are on YouTube, then you probably realize by now that fishing is not really. It's not the most popular thing on YouTube. It's not that relatable to a lot of people.
Right.
But when they see it with the catching and the cleaning and then the cooking, everyone eats. Everyone loves cooking. Then it becomes a lot more relatable, something that everyone wants to see, and something storyline you could put together better. And and Darcy does all the fishing and all the cleaning, and then we just figured that I'm not a cook. I never started out to be a cook or a cameraman or nothing. It's not like I went to culinary school or anything.
Yeah, he's a former attorney.
Yeah, I'm an attorney. So I just started. I just kind of took over that portion of it. Came up with the cooking with pudding. A bunch of fans started sending me aprons and hats. I didn't make that hat. People send them to me.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. But I have stolen your recipe for some fish tacos, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty good.
That's all cooks do. I steal them all myself. So that was just that's where that came from, and people love it. So
what I saw, I really want to try that I saw Darcy do is the what are they called? The Wahoo balls.
Kingfish balls.
Kingfish balls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I never even knew that was possible up until that video. So, I mean, kudos to you for that one, because I'm telling you right now, there's so much, meat that's wasted on these fish, and if you could just push it out like that, I mean, God.
Yeah, well, if you can make a kingfish taste good, you're doing good. So that was what I liked about it.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, it's a very fishy fish.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
fishy. And
We honestly try not to target kingfish at all.
here in South Florida.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
It's like the bluefish, up there.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
There's way too many.
For sure.
Enough.
Yellow-eyed devils.
Yep.
Yeah.
We intentionally don't fish wire because we don't want to catch
I don't want
kingfish.
no more
We don't want
kingfish.
any more kingfish.
You fill your boat up every day
But-
with those dumb things.
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, I just want to say thank you to you guys for coming on. It was a pleasure having you, and keep up the great work. And like you guys always say, follow your dreams and keep on catching.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yes,
so much.
sir.
Thank you for having us aboard today.
Thanks so much.
And listen,
All right.
guys, you guys are ever close to Sebastian again, please feel free. We
were just up last week and we didn't catch any damn fish. So maybe we should hook up and go fishing.
We'd love to do that. We're actively trying to get to Sebastian more often. So we've been there twice with not too much luck so far, but we'll be up there again. Don't worry. So we'll go fishing with you.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you. Take it easy.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Seeing Brian on there, man. They're really good people and good fishermen. On the contrary to what a lot of people say, success brings out a lot of negative comments from people because they're jealous. But in all honesty, I've been subscribed to her channel for years, and she does a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it's nothing but positive stuff, man. Like I was saying, even to her, my daughter for the longest time, it was a whole with little girls. Sometimes it's a whole icky, I don't want to touch the fish kind of deal. Like that you. Again, just like Brian said, you got to see someone doing it to want to do it kind of deal, or to know it's okay. So I'm sure it's not exactly what he said, but very close. And
Yeah.
When a little one saw her, holding fish and catching fish and cleaning fish, and it's not that icky thing anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, hell, I can't stress enough. Kudos to her for that, because every time we go out fishing now, it's an adventure. It's I want to make a video. I want to catch a fish. I want to, be part of this. So, even just for that alone, man, I commend that.
And in all honesty, I'm extremely happy that she made a YouTube channel, because if you look all over Instagram and just look up the hashtag fishing, you're going to see hundreds, if not thousands, of different girls in bikinis holding a fish,
right,
and get you 50, 60, 70, 80,000 likes. And, there's only so much a story that a picture can tell. And, when you watch her videos, you watch her rig up her own line, bait her own hooks, you watch her catch and reel the fish. So, she's not, a BS do it for the camera type person. She's actually a diehard angler, which is why I think she's a cool person. And the two of them together, like, they're a very good duo.
You can listen to her just for 10 minutes, Chris, and understand that she's a diehard, man. You know what I mean? It was, there's a certain conversation, like I said in one of the other podcasts, that we can have to where there's no slowdown, because it's a constant fishing. We have same thing alike. It's like a brother from another mother kind of deal. Same thing with Captain Greg. I mean, it's a great podcast, man. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the future here.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what other guests we get up on here.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. Keep them in suspense. And, hopefully if you guys are liking this podcast, don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, give a subscribe, hit the notification bell. Please leave a comment. Let us know who you want to see on here. See if we can get them on here and just shoot the breeze with them and see what else we can get and go for it and go from that.
Reviews are everything. So even if it's a negative one, we'll take it. But, a review lets the platform find other fishermen and other people willing to listen to the podcast. So you're just connecting us with other guys just like yourselves, and keeping the train going. It's just choo. Choo.
All right, guys. He's Aaron. I'm Chris, and we're out. Tight lines.